Welcome to the video lecture series, Culture, Worldview, and Origins. We're Tim and Holly Nyquist. In this series, we've gone over already culture and worldview, or the concept of worldview within its context of world picture, worldview, and world model, and related that to the concept of philosophy and to the four factors that Stephen Jay Gould has mentioned. In this series, we're looking at origins. We're looking at the origins of scientific models. And we could be looking at the origins of political models, economical models, religious models. But what I've chosen is the origin of scientific models. What we've started, this is the second lecture in this series, and we're looking at building a Western way of thinking, the Western concept of looking out at the world based on the Western characteristics that were developed in the first part of the series on culture. In this one here, we're starting to build our own house. We're starting to build a house with a foundation. And the foundation is on the ground level. The zero ground is the Western cultural tendency, and one of the main characteristics of the Western cultural tendency is its divisions, its categories, its separations, and that is used in dividing the world into two separate domains, of dividing it into the natural world and the supernatural world. And then by doing that, then you can reason and say, okay, if we live in a natural world only, and the supernatural is a auxiliary or a different world, then what we can do is say that our system is closed, and we live in a closed system, and meaning that it's closed in physical laws, natural laws, and that it is not to be intervened. It's not to be disturbed, and so we believe that it's a closed system. There may exist a God, but he's outside that system, and it's closed, and so we can often work all week very well under our own strength, our own knowledge, our own powers, and then when we finish the week, then Sunday we can change domains maybe and go to church and still believe in God. So that is a Western compartmentalization of thinking and how we function. So what we're focusing on here is the two separate domains. It's a Western cultural tendency with the natural and the supernatural domains. And so on that thinking, on that tendency, we have a foundation for the house. And that was internal authority. Based on internal authority, the source of our knowledge, our reliable knowledge, is human reason or logical knowledge as our source. And again, a closed system. So that is very Western in its type of thinking, but that is the foundation of our house. And what it's built on is actually the Weltbild is what gives it those tendencies and those characteristics. Now what we're going to do is on the foundation, we're going to start erecting four columns, four pillars that are going to be we're going to go up with the house, and each pillar represents a basic belief. Now what we have here is the house basic belief, and a basic belief is a belief that is basic to my thinking system. So in other words, it's essential, it's basic. We don't defend it, it's assumed, but it's assumed in relation to my source of reliable knowledge. And so the first basic belief in this house is the first pillar basic belief based on human logic and reason and a closed system, is that only the natural domain exists. And so that is logical, because if we are in a closed system and we've separated off the natural from the supernatural, then in this domain only the natural domain exists. Only natural exists within that domain, and only the natural domain exists. That's the only domain that we can logically prove or disprove. So based on our source of reliable knowledge, which is human reason and logic, then the outcome is the first rule, or the first basic belief is only the natural domain exists. Now what we're doing is putting together basic beliefs to be able to think. We're building our structure. We're building our cognitive thinking structure. So number 2, we're lifting up now pillar number 2, our basic belief number 2, and based on the foundation of human logic, reason, and a closed system, then the cosmos, that would mean everything that we can know, everything that we can come in contact with within the system. It's a closed system, and everything within that closed system, which would mean the cosmos, consists only of natural elements. Okay, that's logical. That feeds off of directly. That's why it's called a basic belief, because it's very basic and it's corollary to the foundational source. So the cosmos consists only of natural elements. Now, what would be other elements that aren't natural? Well, that could be powers, that could be sources, that could be entities that aren't, like from Greek mythology, the Greek gods. They would not be natural elements or limited to natural powers. So in other words, the cosmos consists only of natural elements. These are the first 2 rules. Rules are basic beliefs which then rule and guide our thinking processes and filter them. Okay, basic belief number 3. Based again on human logic and reason and closed system. If it's a closed system, then how does the cosmos function? The cosmos functions according to natural processes. Okay, that makes perfectly clear logic, is that if we start with the foundation that our source of reliable knowledge is human reasoning, and we start with a closed system, then this is a natural byproduct, a natural basic belief to that system. The cosmos then functions according to natural process. What does that mean? That means no miracles. That means no interventions. That means that it is purely uniformitarian in principle. Okay? Uniformitarian does, at its basic meaning, means uniform causes and effects. It's not so much focused on speed of things, how fast things happen. What it is most concerned about is maintaining a uniformitarian principle in the structure of thinking. So, in other words, uniformitarian principle would say natural processes always. If you're a good scientist, you keep to the rules. You keep to the science of closed system, based on a closed system. Pillar number 4. Based on human logic, reason, and a closed system, this last pillar defines, then the God of the Bible, or any other God for that matter, cannot in reality exist. Because it's a closed system. Now what they're talking about is that the God of the Bible is a God that is within the system, a God that created, a God that maintains, a God that has intimate relationship with man. That God in a closed system cannot exist. What cannot exist in a closed system is anything that has to do with God or miracles. So in other words, in a closed system, can you have revelation? No, you cannot. Because it's a closed system. There cannot be anything revealed. There cannot be anything get through to the system because it is closed. So the last basic belief, based on human logic and reason and closed system, is the God of the Bible, or any other God for that matter, cannot in reality exist. Okay, now you're kind of thinking like, well, who would come up with these rules? Well, this is the house again, and it has the foundation, it has the cultural influence, it has the source of reliable knowledge, it has the basic beliefs, and that's where we're at right now. The basic beliefs that I've just gone over, I didn't make them up myself. Actually, they came from an article supplied by Stephen D. Schaefersman, philosopher, scientist, in his article entitled "Naturalism is Today: By History, Philosophy, and Purpose, an Essential Part of Science." Okay? Where are we going with this? I just want to show you that we are not as an independent thinker as we may think we are. That we have to assume things to make things work. And basically what it comes down to is my assumptions, maybe versus yours or versus somebody else's. But what we have to really make sure is the assumptions that we're choosing, the consequences of them. Are they worth the consequences? So this is what I've come up with, is that these 4 rules, basic beliefs that will guide the whole rest of the process of this house, are based on publication recently, within the last 15 years, by Stephen D. Schaefersman. Naturalism is today, by history, philosophy, and purpose, an essential part of science. Meaning that an essential part of science today is philosophy and naturalism, philosophical naturalism. Again, thank you for joining me, and hope that you stay with me and that we're able to continue this building journey process and just see where it goes, where it takes us. And then I was proposing before that I was interested in the origins topic, but I wasn't interested in an origins debate. But now I think that we have the tools to be able to look at the different models of origins and to be able to understand which model we pertain to and why, which model we support. And you can say why, because of this source of reliable knowledge, because of these basic beliefs, and then later it'll be because of the methods, then it'll be because of the model of science that it produces, and then it'll be because of the values that comes out of that. And am I content with living within that system? Again, we're Tim and Holly Nyquist. If you want to communicate with us, it's through doubleroadrover.com or thn.academia@gmail.com. Again, thanks for listening.